What is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. So I'm recording this video just after day 3 of the LCS lock-in tournament has finished up. The first weekend is over. We have seen pretty much every team play 3 games, I believe, except for FlyQuest at this point. So now it's that fun time, you know, where we get to look back on the whole weekend. We've seen about 3 games from most of these teams, from most of these players. Some subs, some full rosters, some academy rosters. We've seen a nice mix of everything. But it's been crazy so far. There's been a ton of upsets, a ton of big plays, a ton of missed plays, a ton of flaming, a ton of probably overhyping, maybe underhyping, all this stuff going on. But in this video today, I wanted to specifically talk about Cloud9 and kind of look back at the first weekend for them and hopefully be able to answer the question, did Cloud9 get scammed? You know, with the whole Perkz of just fiasco situation that happened in the offseason. They paid a lot of money for this guy. And how's it been going so far? Giving my thoughts and opinions on everything that's happened this weekend, and hopefully getting some reactions from you guys as well, because I know you guys all have a ton of thoughts, opinions, overreactions from this first weekend. It's a ton of fun to talk about. But before we get into that, I just want to mention real quick, if you're not already subscribed, definitely click that subscribe button really quick. Recently, we passed 6,000 subscribers, but still 75% of the people that watch my videos are not subscribed. So that means we have so much more room to grow as we start hitting more and more people, but also just getting the people who already watch my stuff to subscribe would be awesome. You know, keep running those numbers up. Also, dropping a like on this video does help me out so much with the YouTube algorithm, and I would appreciate it a ton. With that being said, here we go. Let's look back on the weekend that was the first ever LCS lock-in tournament, the first ever weekend of it. Days 1, 2, and 3. Let's take a look at Cloud9. We're on Google here. I didn't know what the best way to do this was. Oh, and the green screen. For whatever reason, at nighttime, since I have bad lighting in my room, my green screen doesn't like when I wear yellow shirts, and I was just too lazy to go change. So we're just going with the green screen background rather than the green screen actually working. So if we look at Cloud9's 3 matches, we'll see they started out with a matchup against Evil Geniuses, which was pretty hyped up. You know, this was Perkz' debut game in North America. It's not really. It's still a preseason tournament, so I guess week 1 of the LCS season is going to be his debut game, but you know, this is our first ever look at him and this new Cloud9 roster. They're going up against Evil Geniuses, which had a pretty good offseason. Evil Geniuses got better in the offseason. People were hyped up, people were excited for them, but a lot of people had Cloud9 as clearly a stronger team, and as you can see, things did not go great for Cloud9. Cloud9 had a very interesting draft. They went super aggressive. They got Perkz, the Yone, with Ignite. He was ready to go crazy. As you can see here too, he was up against the Syndra, which should be a pretty good matchup for Yone. Yes, Syndra does have tools to kind of bully him early and stuff. It's a melee matchup for Syndra. That should be good, but Yone definitely has the tools to go aggressive and kill Syndra too if she gets pushed up in the lane. So it was going to be an interesting skill matchup going back and forth, but as you can see, Jizuke held his own. 1-1-14 on the Syndra, and this is a guy who last season many people were critical of, and headed into this season I was critical of him as well, but so far so good for Evil Geniuses and Jizuke. And Perkz, he was able to pick up first blood, which was super hype, but as you can see, he finished the game 4-7-2, and after day 1 of the LCS lock-in tournament, he was the overall death leader, which was so crazy, so funny. You know, the guy that said he wasn't going to die the entire LCS tournament, actually having the most deaths in the LCS. Yes, just through 1 game, but still really funny nonetheless, and made a ton of spicy memes. So that was hilarious. But obviously, then we go on to game 2. It's like Cloud9 blue against Cloud9 green. You know, FlyQuest has all this old Cloud9 members. They have Licorice, they have Diamond, they have Palafox. So it's going to be interesting to see how Cloud9 could do against their old members and how their old members could do against their team. And in this game, things went much better for Perkz. He played the kind of, you know, team-oriented mid laner in Galio, the far cry from the Yone he played the game before, and they gave Blabber his Kindred, which is one of his best champions, and they just had a really nice comp. Camille Galio is obviously disgusting with a Misfortune on top of that. Alistar is also an amazing option for the Galio, and then Blabber on Kindred, he's just disgusting at this champion. He got so many marks early, and he just absolutely snowballed the game. But some of the stuff to take a look at here, we had the Camille against Fiora matchup in the top lane where, you know, Licorice went 0-2-0. They didn't really do anything, but Fudge didn't really do anything either, 0-0-4. That matchup was pretty back and forth. If anything, Licorice won it a little tiny bit, but obviously he was never really able to gain too big of a lead. Cloud9 almost perfect gamed FlyQuest in this game, but I believe they got 1 tower in the end, which was pretty hilarious. But obviously, this was a big bounce back game for Cloud9 after getting knocked off against Evil Geniuses. Perkz looked way better. A lot of the Cloud9 members looked way better, and things were starting to look up. But on the side note, FlyQuest looked terrible, so I didn't want to overreact overreact too much from this win from Cloud9. And then finally, the last game of the weekend for Cloud9 was against Immortals. This is another team. They're starting 3 of their academy members and then Revenge and Insanity. So this is a game that Cloud9 was expected to win. You know, they needed to look good because this was going to kind of be one of the easier opponents. And Cloud9 did that. An 8-0 game from Spen, a 10-2-3 from Blabber, absolutely disgusting. You know, Blabber finally getting back to his old carry ways, hopefully looking more like spring split Blabber than summer split Blabber. But what I want to bring your attention to is the 0-1-4 for Perkz on Zoe. Yes, again, he was playing a little bit more of a facilitative style mid laner, a little bit more utility on the Zoe than something like the Yone. But it's not like it was Galio, but just another game from Perkz where, you know, he's up against Insanity, who Insanity honestly has not been bad. I think Insanity is pretty underrated, but Perkz, supposed to be the second best Western player of all time, supposed to be one of the best mid laners in the world. I expect more from him against Immortals, starting 3 academy players. I expect more for him against Insanity. And he got 0-1-4, participates in 4 kills the whole game. Like, yes, this was not a bad game for Perkz, but by Perkz standards, I would say this was a bad game. And then we have Fudge going 1-1-5 on the Aatrox, where he had a really, really random death at the beginning of the game where, you know, I think a better team could have punished that a little bit. So, in the end, taking a look at it, you know, I believe that Perkz really had one good game. The Galio game was pretty good. I mean, there's only so much you can do on Galio. He looked great, really helped his team out, enabled Blabber. When Perkz got to go aggressive on something like Yone, it didn't look as good. Cloud9 looked a little uncoordinated. Yes, that was their very first game ever together. Yes, they were playing against Evil Geniuses, who has been playing pretty well so far. And then he pulls out the Zoe, and Zoe has historically been one of his better champions. I mean, he would play Zoe even when he played AD carry in the bot lane sometimes, and it just looked a little bit off. You know, again, it wasn't a bad game. It just wasn't a great game. So far, 3 games in, you know, again, obviously I'm not going to say Cloud9 got scammed. I'm not going to say that it's time to panic. But I think we all expected a faster start from Perkz. I think we all expected him to be a little bit better. Now, there's so many factors at play. One, he's just getting over the United States. He hasn't been here very long, still getting used to everything. I'm sure he's still getting his feet underneath him. 2, this is a preseason tournament where I'm sure a lot of teams are limit testing, trying new things. It's pretty much like streamed scrims, which is what a lot of people are calling it as well, and I love that because that's exactly what it is. And you wouldn't freak out about scrims, so why would you freak out about this stuff? Another thing is that he hasn't played mid lane in a while. Obviously, out of the last 4 splits, last 2 years, he's played mid lane for 1 of those, and he looked pretty good in that, but, you know, these things take time. And the last one being, he's with a whole new roster. He's got to get synergies built up with Blabber. Yes, he has a lot of history with Sven and Mithy, but, you know, meeting Fudge, meeting Vulcan, and getting used to all the new Cloud9 coaching staff and infrastructure, and the United States and Los Angeles and all that. There's so much going on, and there's just a ton of hype on him, and maybe he's getting caught up in the hype and the trash talking and everything first. You know, you got to let your play get under control, and then the trash talking comes in after that. But also, he has a big arrow on his back because a ton of teams are trying to kill him. Everyone's been hearing the trash talk. Everyone's been hearing the hype. Everyone sees the money he's getting, and everybody wants a piece of that. So things are going to be hard for him in Cloud9 as well. So in the end, you know, I'm definitely not going to say Cloud9 got scammed. I think Perkz is going to be fine in the long run. I am a little disappointed with him so far, but it doesn't really mean that much. It only means so much. They're going to be okay. Things are going to work out. But you know, Cloud9 fans and LCS fans in general who were expecting Perkz to just absolutely come out and pop off, especially against an NA mid lane talent, which is not very strong this season and historically isn't very strong, can be a little bit disappointing. Where I am more disappointed so far is in Fudge, because I spent the whole offseason telling people Fudge could be good. He has an opportunity to be great, and he has looked great in Academy, but he is, yes, they're not calling him a rookie because he played in the OPL, he made it to Worlds, blah, blah, blah. For all intents and purposes, he is a rookie, especially on this stage. And he is very, very unproven. He is a young kid who has a very volatile playstyle, and he is going to be matched up against some really, really good LCS top laners. Top lane is a good position in North America, and so far, Fudge has looked bad. And that is again, it's just preseason tournament. It's not time to panic yet, but that is a bad sign for Cloud9 because a lot of people were telling me, Fudge is a beast. You know, he's going to come in and he's going to be a clear upgrade over Licorice, blah, 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 blah. So, you know, that's one thing I'm worried about. The good side is that Licorice has not looked very good on FlyQuest either. So if the alternative was keeping Licorice, you know, I guess you'd be happy with Cloud9 because you have the younger guy in Fudge who hopefully has a chance to grow and continue to build up and stuff. But just understand that development does not always necessarily happen. Just because somebody plays more games or gets UCLCS or whatever doesn't mean they're automatically going to get better. Some people just get worse, or some people stagnate, some people plateau. Fudge's best years could be ahead of him, but not everyone necessarily gets better, and the pressure gets some people, or they just realize they're not good enough, or they have self-doubt, or they have confidence issues, or whatever. And Fudge, you know, again, I think he's going to be okay. I think it's going to work out, but I'm much less confident in things working out for Fudge than working out for Perkz in the long run, because Perkz has proven to us time and time again over history that he is one of the best mid laners in the West, if not the world, and Fudge doesn't have that track record. He does not get the benefit of the doubt. He needs to prove it to me, and really should need to prove it to all the LCS fans first, because he came in talking a big talk, and I love that. I love the trash talk. I think it's entertaining, great. You know, more power to him, building up his brand, building up his fan base. But he's laid a couple of eggs so far, and if Cloud9 wants to, you know, do anything internationally, if they want to even compete for LCS titles, they're going to need a very, very good version of Fudge, and they're going to need a much, much better. It's not even like Fudge has been like okay, or he's been good, he needs to be great. He's been, I would say, bad, and he needs to be good, if not great, for Cloud9 to kind of reach their goals for the season. You know, they spent all this money on Perkz, and they need to get something done. And yes, Fudge is a young guy. It's a long season. They have however many regular season games ahead of them, and things are going to be okay, and things are going to work out, and I'm sure Cloud9 will be fine. I still, you know, nothing in this tournament is making me say that Cloud9 isn't still the second best team in the LCS, but there are things that are making me say they're not the first best. And I was already saying that before, but some other people were saying that, and I hope they've had a little bit of a wake-up call. Yes, Team Liquid hasn't looked great either, but they at least don't have Santorin. I think once they get him back, they're going to be good. But man, Evil Geniuses look solid. 100 Thieves look solid. Cloud9 has some competition all of a sudden. And Perkz needs to step up. Fudge needs to step up. Sven and Vulcan, Blabber, they've looked good so far. They've each had a game where they've really, really popped off, and that's exciting for Cloud9 fans. And yes, I didn't get scammed, but again, getting Perkz, part of that was losing Licorice. Part of that was the change in the top lane. So I think Perkz will be okay in the long run, but I do have some question marks for Fudge at this point, and I'm sure he'll turn it around, but those questions at least need to be answered. He needs to prove it to us first. But that is pretty much it for this video today, guys. Definitely drop a like if you enjoyed it. Again, I would appreciate it a ton. Helps me out the YouTube algorithm. Leave a comment down below. What do you guys think? Did Cloud9 get scammed? Is Perkz going to do good? Is Fudge going to do good? Are they going to turn it around? Is Cloud9 going to be the best team in the LCS? Or where are you ranking them now a couple days into the lock-in tournament? I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Subscribe to stay updated on the latest content. Let's get to 7K. Let's just do it. Hopefully I catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace!